Hello, and welcome to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. I'm Aurelio Martinez. I'm here with Steve Johnson, and I'll tell you what, in this episode, we got a very special guest online. You're going to want to listen to him, hear all about his boxing career, where he came from, where he's at, and where he's going to be. Hey, Steve, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today and who we got on the line, because I know you know him very well.
Yes, we have an online guest, my boy Mike, yes indeed, Reed from Waldorf, Maryland. Me and Mike go back to his amateur days, where, like I said, I was introduced to Mike by himself. Well, but actually, Mike was here in Denver for an amateur show, is where I met him. Okay. At that time, he was with Troy Fox and came into Denver, and Mike and I just hit it off, and I kept in touch with him, and now he's where he's at with Top Rank. He's one of their featured guys, and we expect big things from him. I expect big things from Mike, and his dad is his trainer. Mike will get into all of that. Mm-hmm. But there was a little controversy. He was supposed to fight this last night on the Terrence Crawford, Hank Lundy undercard.
Okay.
And but his opponent failed his drug test, and the New York State Athletic Commission wouldn't sanction him. So Mike had to make a lot of changes for his plans with his group of folks that were coming up from Maryland to see him. But Mike, we're gonna let you take off and you tell your story. I want you to start off and just tell everybody about how you got into boxing. I know your relationship with you and your dad, but go into all of it, man. Just let everybody here know on our Inside Boxing internet show that is broadcast worldwide.
You got it, man.
Okay, cool, man. First of all, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
For sure.
Man, my dad, well, I got into boxing. My older brother, he started, and I was the youngest of four brothers. So being the youngest of four brothers, I wanted to do everything that they did, and I just kind of, gravitated towards it. Once I gravitated towards it, my dad started training. He started working with me. He saw I was dedicated, and the rest is history.
Good. Mike, your amateur career, did you have an extensive amateur career, or did you go right into, cut it short and go right into the pros? Let us know about that.
Well, my amateur, pretty much I accomplished everything as an amateur except for making the Olympics. I won a national silver gloves as a junior, won a national golden gloves. I was ranked as high as number 2 in the country, being 17 years old. So, like I said, I accomplished everything. Scoring the silver as a child, I was one of the favorites. And being 18 years old, being a kid, I took that for granted. I just thought I could halfway train and just get away with it. But that wasn't the case. I lost to the eventual Olympians, Merrill Herring, who just outworked me. And, that's a lesson that I learned. I'm glad I learned it at that level versus learning on the pro circuit.
Good. Now tell us. Before we get into the this weekend's situation and what happened there, tell us you turned pro, and actually you have yourself you're starting on a stellar level. You're actually doing what you're supposed to do. You're opening eyes out there. People are looking at you, and tell us a little bit. How did you hook up with the top ranked people, and how's your professional career going as of now?
Well, my professional career is going beautiful. I can't ask for anything more. Top Rank is doing an excellent job at moving me. But starting off, like I said, I had a big amateur background. I was a little disappointed because I didn't have the top promoters coming knocking at my door, offering me contracts. I had to take the long way around, and the long way included me actually working with local promoters, club shows. But the club shows actually helped me build my fan base. It helped me. Yeah, because a lot of people knew me as an amateur standout, but going to the pro circuit, I'm a rookie. I'm a rookie making my pro debut. We actually sold over 200 tickets for my pro debut, and that opened the eyes of a lot of people, especially local promoters. They saw me as a ticket seller. The local promoter was called Keystone Boxing. And Keystone, the only thing that you had to do, like I said, was sell tickets. You had to promote yourself. Mm-hmm. And we promoted ourselves very well. And I was fighting almost every other month. I was busier than a lot of guys that had their big deals. So that kind of made me feel good about where me and the direction my team was going. So I turned everything over to my father, who was my trainer and my manager, and everything, been working beautiful.
Good, Mike. Now, you mentioned that, coming up through the ranks, you had to come up the hard way. You had to do it. like you said, you're disappointed that major promoters weren't knocking on your door, come get you. Go into a little bit about the process of turning pro and how, go a little more in depth about how disappointing that is when you are expecting big things and they don't come to you right away.
Right. Like I said, I was young, being 19, 12. I think I turned pro when I was 20 years old. I just turned 20. And like I said, I know I worked 10 years to be a professional fighter. So I expected certain things, and I expected, I'm looking to turn pro. And like I said, guys were just knocking over at my door and just saying, Mike, we need you. But it taught me to be humble. It taught me to be humble, and it also taught me that sometimes you just have to work a little harder to get what you want. But it was very disappointing. I actually wanted to take the first deal that was thrown to me. My dad told me, he was like, "No, Michael, that's not the way it's done. You know, these smaller promoters, they can only take you but so far. You have the talent to go further. And you know, I'm not gonna let you take a small deal to be basically undercutting yourself." And you know, he didn't. But like I said, it was disappointing. As far as the process of turning pro, we sent out tapes from our amateurs. We sent out highlights to all pro, you know, all the top promoters, and some got back to us and some didn't. With that, after that, we got in contact. We got in contact with local promoters, Keith on Boston, and when we got in contact with them, they were like, "Okay, well, you know, we're putting on the show here. We can have you as a special guest to basically announce that you're turning pro." And once we did that, a lot of people noticed that I was looking to turn pro, and you know, the rest is history.
Hey, Mike, real quick, is there anybody else in your group there? Or is your dad just work exclusively with you, or is there anybody else?
Well, it's right now he's working exclusively with me.
Okay.
My second is her name's Andre Hunter, and that's Tough Mitchell's, you know, Tough Mitchell's old head trainer. So we have a lot of amateurs, but right now on the pro circuit, I'm the only guy on my dad is working with.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Radio.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and let the folks out there know what they're really interested in. They're interested in Yes Indeed, in your professional career, and what you got coming forward to. Let's talk about this weekend a little bit. Obviously, there was a lot of folks tuned into the TV, including myself and Steve Johnson, because I already knew what was going to happen in the Crawford fight, and I'm not a big fan of Verdell.
You're not?
No.
Of who?
What's his name?
Verdell?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, we don't want to get into that because we're talking about Yes Indeed Reed at a different show. I'll explain my reasons why.
Mike, I'll hammer him on the next episode, but you'll see. Okay?
But let me tell you, I was tuned in because I was really looking forward to seeing you fight. I was looking forward you to break out, get that cream to raise to the top to show that, hey, you are on that high level, you're on that plateau, and it just didn't happen. I was really disappointed that the news came in at the weigh-ins and they waited so late, because I can't understand. They had to have known before the weigh-ins that this guy didn't pass a physical or fail
Antonio Lopez
or fail the test or whatever it was. But tell us when you found out, how you found out, and just go ahead and tell us a little bit about this weekend.
Well, one thing about my team, and you know, it's a good thing, but hindsight's always 20/20, so I always get upset. But I think they do an excellent job at hiding things from me. So with that being said, I didn't know until Thursday night. Thursday night, my dad came into the room and was like, "Man, Michael, I got bad news for you." He's like, "Good and bad news." I'm like, "Well, what's the good news?" He's like, "Your guy is struggling to make weight." I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe he'll be trained during fight time." And now what's the bad news? He's like, "Your guy's struggling to pass physicals." And I'm like, "What do you mean he's struggling to pass physicals?" His blood work, I don't know what test New York ran, but whatever level, his blood work had to be at a level 17. And his blood was at a level 22 on a Thursday. The Thursday night before the weigh-in, his blood level was at 22. And they were saying basically they thought it would go down, and it never went down. The closest they got it to was 19. And they were saying, you know, he was unfit to fight because they would have had to take a pint of blood from him to thin his blood off because his blood was too thick. So, we found out a little bit before. I was optimistic because I wanted to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we found out pretty much that night before.
No, that's interesting.
I wouldn't be fighting.
That's interesting because we really didn't know what the failure was on his part, but his blood level being that high, I mean that raises a question about blood doping. Okay, and I think that's a big concern in boxing and any athletic sport right now is the blood doping, because it's hard to detect, except the way you just mentioned when it's too high. So listen, I mean, obviously, if that was the case, this guy felt he needed some help or something, and he obviously must have got caught and failed, and it didn't work. But
Mike said that his dad said he was struggling to make weight too, so he had some other issues going on. I don't know what the deal with Lopez is, but Mike, talk real quick about. I know, like I said earlier, you had a bunch of people that were coming up from Maryland to come see the fight. You had the buses contracted. Did you have to refund the money to your fans, or what happened there?
Yeah, like I said, Tom Rank is one of the excellent companies. So actually, Tom Rank, they felt really bad. We talked to Carl Moretti, and actually Carl Moretti refunded everybody that bought tickets, everybody that bought tickets to the bus. He refunded all of the money back,
Nice.
because Tom Rank, they're a professional company, and they know and they understand that we did everything in our power to fight, and it wasn't on us, and it wouldn't have been fair to our fans that we had coming up from DC to say, okay, well, we can't refund you our money. So they, in Georgia, they refunded everybody their money that didn't want to go to the fight.
That's good
But
to hear.
I actually still had about 25 to 30 people at the fight, because they just wanted to come out support. They wanted to come out support and hang with us, and just still be around a fight environment, because some people bought flight tickets, some people bought charter bus tickets that wasn't riding on our bus. So, we still had a good time out here. It was just probably every other fight I had an outburst just saying, dang, I wasn't fighting. And, it was disappointing. It was very disappointing, because I see the guys that fought before me or fought after me, and I'm like, man, that's supposed to be me.
What's next for Mike? Yes, indeed, Reed.
Next, like I said, Tom Rank's professional, and they're very good at what they do. That being said, Mike D will be fighting March 18th in Philadelphia on undercard of Jesse Hart.
Okay.
I'm in a smaller show, but I will be fighting on March 18th.
Nice, Mike.
well, that'd be nice. Top Rank also has that fight March 19th in Houston. So wherever they can fit you in, we want to watch that. We want to watch you elevate yourself into that title contention and raise to the top, because we know you have the skills. Yes, indeed you do, and it was disappointing to me just not to see you on TV, because honestly, that's what I was tuning in for. I wanted to catch that.
Yeah, Mike, Aurelio has yet to see you in action. I know what you've got, and I want him to be able to see it. But the next time that you're available, I'll make sure that he gets a chance to see you live. And in saying that, I just want to let you know, you always know how I feel about you, man. We go way back, and I will follow you always. And we'll try to have you on after every fight that you have. We'll try to have you on the show if you got time to make for us, okay?
Yes, indeed, man. I appreciate stuff. I always appreciate the love and support, man. Like you said, we go way back.
Yes.
I think I was 15.
I think
I
so.
was 15. I was 15. No, I just turned 17. When we first met.
Yes,
And like
sir.
I said, you always support me, and we always had a very nice relationship. So I just want to say thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, man.
Well, good.
Thank you, man. He's a good. Aurelio, he's a really good kid, and you see how he is. He's humble, and you know how we feel about humble kids.
You bet. Hey, go ahead and take a little time. If you want to go ahead and give a shout out to anybody out there, go ahead and give it to them now, man. Okay, go ahead and take a minute or so.
I mean, shout out to all of my fans. Like I said, we still got a lot of people that still come out and support. I love all the support, all the support. Whether you're tuning in on TV, tuning in on the stream, whether you're seeing me fight live, just anybody that spreads the word about Mike Dixon Reed, I see it, and I just want to say thank you.
Okay, Mike.
All right.
Well, listen, thanks for calling in, and we look forward to having you back on the show as a guest. And of course, you come around in studio, or we go to one of your fights live, we'll have you in studio, man. Much luck to you, and look forward to seeing you climb that ladder to the top.
Yeah, Mike, and tell your dad I said hello, and yes, indeed, and tell your dad I said hello, and we'll be in touch, okay?
All right, man. You all take it easy.
All right,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
Later.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Well, Steve, I'll tell you what. That it's nice to see. It's nice to see when you got a up and coming contender that's humble, because you get to a point where you get all these so-called world champions, and you got people that have a big following like Canelo and so forth, but then they want to pick and choose, and they don't want to show the world that they are indeed the best of the best. And they said, so it's really nice to see these young boxers coming up through the ropes, paying their dues, and hopefully we'll get back to the point where boxing will start seeing these great fights again.
Yeah, we can look forward to that. So y'all remember the name Mike, yes indeed, Reed. He's a super lightweight that's fighting out of Waldorf, Maryland, and he's under the banner of Top Rank. And keep your eyes on him. We'll follow him, and we want you to follow him too.
You bet. Come back and see us on our next episode, where we'll talk about the fights that happened this weekend, including Terrence Crawford,
Felix
Verdejo, which I've already let people know I'm not really impressed, but we'll explain that in the next episode. So y'all come back, watch the next episode, and until then, Steve,
hey,
keep them hands up.